He teaches young minds, and he twists your mind. So I want everybody to give a big round of applause for Scott McDermott.
All right, thank you, everybody. Give it up for Emily again for her first time on stage. That was great. I gotta tell you though, my heart kind of sank the first time I found out she was married. Do you have a sister, like older or younger? Preferably younger. Speedy like that. No, we finished up the semester, spring semester at Radford about 4 weeks ago. So that means that I have now been drunk for about 6 months. I may have a drinking problem, I'm not sure. No, you guys like to pick on Radford. You always like to tell that story about how 1 in 3 girls at Radford has a sexually transmitted disease. But you always leave out another part of that equation. You always leave out the fact that 1 in 3 girls at Radford is also dating a guy at Tech. So through the transitive property, that one's kind of on you. Now I realize that joke involves math, so if the Tech students could explain it to the Radford students. And Radford students, if you'll explain it to the people from Pulaski. Folks from Pulaski, if you could get the people from Giles, and if the folks from Giles could take care of anyone who might be visiting from UVA. We'll have covered our bases and I will have catered sufficiently to the audience. No, I'll tell you guys the same thing I tell my students. I don't have a PhD, so you don't have to call me doctor. I do have a master's degree, so you can call me master if you like. Yeah, my black students don't like that joke either. For some reason. Anthony likes that joke, so it's okay. Do you ever wonder who the first white guy to try to get away with saying something racist by claiming to have black friends was? Do you think Abraham Lincoln was like, no, it's cool, I can talk about Negroes, I freed them. Frederick Douglass says the Emancipation Proclamation gets me a ghetto pass. Do you think Thomas Jefferson was like, no, I can own slaves, one of them is my baby's mama. Sally says she's fine with it. That is, of course, a reference to Sally Hemings. Who knows who Sally Hemings was? All right, very good. So if you don't know, Sally Hemings was Thomas Jefferson's slave, who is also widely believed to have been his mistress. That has to make for some awkward relationship moments, if you think about it, because he was like dating his property. Do you ever think they got in an argument where he'd like asked her to do something and she was like, you don't own me? And he was like, well, actually. I got paperwork that says that I do. Wouldn't it be weird if you could like buy your significant other at like the boyfriend or girlfriend store? You know? Of course, like, guys would always be returning their girlfriends claiming they were defective, you know? When I purchased this model about 3 months ago, I was told that I would have unlimited access to up to 3 points of entry. As it turns out, I'm only allowed to use one of those, and whenever I need to use it, it's shut down for the evening. And you should have seen what happened when I tried to use that rear entry point. That was not pretty. Oh, that feature's only available on the Radford models. Of course, women would never return their defective boyfriends. They would just try to fix them themselves. And in the process, ruin them for everyone else. By the time they're done with the poor guy, they wouldn't even be able to sell him, like, at a yard sale. You know, the poor bastard would be on the lawn at the end of the day with just the sign around his neck, like, free to good home, you know? People would come up like, what's this? Oh, that's my ex-boyfriend. I only used him for about 6 months. Well, what the hell did you do to him? I mean, his spirit's been crushed, he's got almost no self-esteem left, and hey, his balls have been busted. Oh, look at him, now he's crying. And trying to hug me, get him away. that we once thought it was okay to own another person shows you how fucked up racism is. And I think one of the biggest problems with racism is that the people who are most racist don't realize that they're racist. And I know this because whenever I hear someone say, I'm not racist or anything, but it is inevitably followed by the most racist shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Nothing good ever follows that statement. No one has ever said, I'm not racist or anything, but I believe all the children of the world should join hands and sing. Now, if someone said that, I'd be like, that guy's clearly not racist. I don't see what he's worried about. Seems like a decent fellow. But it's always something horrible. I guarantee you that in like 1930s Germany, Adolf Hitler turned to his friends one day and was like, hey guys, I'm not racist or anything, but I've got this idea. Just hear me out. Now, I sometimes worry that I might be a little bit racist myself, and I place the blame squarely on Star Wars. Because, you see, I grew up with the original trilogy, and the only black guy that we had in the original trilogy was Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
And there's only one thing that people ever remember about Lando. Now, if there were any justice in this world, he would be remembered as a great hero. After all, in Return of the Jedi, he was the one that flew the Millennium Falcon into the second Death Star and blew up the power core with the helpful assist from Wedge Antilles. Which just goes to show you I really need a girlfriend. But because he's black, what's the only thing anyone ever remembers?
Snitch.
He's a snitch. He betrayed Han Solo, right? Sold him out to the Empire. Now, I'm not racist or anything, but if I'm being completely honest, because of those movies, I can never completely trust my black friends. I'm always worried they're going to hand me over to Darth Vader. I'm worried I'm going to go out to dinner with Anthony one night. I'm going to be surrounded by stormtroopers. He's just going to look at me like, I had no choice, they arrived right before you did. Next thing you know, I'm frozen in carbonite, hanging on a wall in Jabba's palace. Then who's going to save me? Because I don't have a Princess Leia in my life. So I'm single. That's right, the mildly racist Star Wars fan doesn't have a girlfriend. Shocking. I'm kidding. Star Wars didn't make me racist. If anything, I'm pretty sure the opposite is true. I'm pretty sure at least half the reason that I keep voting for Obama is that Barack Obama sounds like the name of a Star Wars character. Some people aren't sure he was born in this country. I'm not sure he was born in this galaxy. Being honest. I'm pretty sure Barack Obama was a bounty hunter in The Empire Strikes Back. I think I had the action figure. That's what I'm getting at. So where are my Star Wars fans? Who likes Star Wars? Oh, awesome. How about the prequels? You like the prequels? Yeah, honestly, they're not as good, but I do feel that Star Wars movies are kind of like blowjobs. You know, even the bad ones are still kind of awesome. The exception being, you know, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, that's like the bad hand job of Star Wars movies. It's an awful movie. And there's one thing in particular that I always hated about that movie, and that's the fact that they reveal that Anakin Skywalker, the little kid who grows up to become Darth Vader, his mother reveals that he doesn't have a father, that he's the product of some sort of immaculate conception, which is just stupid. But the absent father would explain why he grows up to become an angry black man. Not that I'm racist or anything, which is what racists say after this. Personally, I think she's lying. I think she knows who the father is. She had herself a little one-night stand. She just doesn't want to admit to it. Because if you think about it, there's only one character in the Star Wars universe powerful enough to have fathered Darth Vader, and that's Yoda. That's right. Here's how I think it went down. She and her girlfriends went out clubbing one night. They hit up the Mos Eisley Cantina. She has one too many of those blue milk-looking drinks. Next thing you know, she's waking up in a swamp, lying next to something that looks like what would happen if Miss Piggy and Kermit the Frog ever consummated their relationship. I mean, would you admit to that? The walk of shame back from Dagobah is a long one. And Yoda's probably got moves too. He's probably great at sex. I mean, judge him not by his size. Strong with the force is he. You know? He can give you an orgasm from across the room. This Jedi lingus is what that is. The Jedi noun trick. I've really got to stop confusing Star Wars and sex. Because for a while there, I'll admit, I did get into, the cosplay, where you dress up in costume in the bedroom. The problem was, I'm not confident enough to see myself as like the Han Solo. So we would just dress up like the droids, and the girl would be R2-D2, and the sex was great, but now I can't walk past a fire hydrant without getting mildly aroused. It's a step up. At first, I would just have a little person put on a fur coat, pretend they were an Ewok. So it's getting better. Anyway, I'd like to talk to just the guys for a second, which should be easy because most of the women stopped paying attention about 5 minutes ago when I started talking about Star Wars. However, if you are one of the few ladies who is into Star Wars, I still have the R2-D2 outfit. It's in my trunk. Hit me up after the show. But guys, do you ever wake up with like a really wicked case of morning wood, but you also have to pee really badly? And so in this moment, you have some decisions that have to be made. And what I usually do is, I go to the bathroom, and rather than even bother with the toilet, I just arc it into the bathtub. Some of the guys here know exactly what I'm talking about. The rest of them are just like, this guy's a fucking genius. I've just been pissing on the wall behind the toilet. That's a great idea. Now, men are nasty though, am I right, ladies? Men are nasty. Women are clearly the more advanced of the species. And one needs look no farther for proof of this than a woman's bathroom. You look at a woman's shower, and you guys, you've got like shampoos, conditioners, finishing rinses, stuff for dry hair, color-treated hair, dry skin, sensitive skin, soft skin. You have so many products, you have to like build additional shelves just to house them all. Guys, on the other hand, we've decided that the bar of soap and the bottle of shampoo is just a little too complicated of a system for us. So we came up with the shampoo and body wash in one. Presumably so we can just be like, done. But it's getting worse. We now have the shampoo, body wash, and shave soap all in one. But we're not going to stop there. Eventually it's going to be shampoo, body wash, shave soap, toothpaste, mouthwash, laundry detergent, dish detergent, air freshener, deodorant, carpet cleaner, car wax, floor wax, motor oil, personal lubricant. Just all in one container. Because that's what guys want. We just want that one thing that you only have to buy like every 6 months. It'll come in a 1-gallon jug, costs $19.99, and you can buy it at Best Buy or the auto parts store. Just call it Stuff for Men. Of course, one of the great ongoing battles in the war between the sexes is that regarding toilet seat etiquette. Women believe that we should take a second and put it down. Men believe that you should look before you leave. However, my mother has managed to strike a rather definitive blow in this particular battle. Take note, ladies. In her home, what she has done is she has covered all of the lids and seats of her toilets in the fluffiest, frilliest, puffiest toilet seat cozies that she can find. And then she has crowded the back of the toilet with all sorts of candles and knickknacks. As a result, the seats don't stay up. You lift them up, they fall right back down. Whenever I go home, I have to pee like this. This is not a natural position to urinate from while one is sober. So I tried to get my father to, advocate on behalf of men, but they've been married for 40 years, so he's just like, quite frankly, son, I'm just tired. You know? I kind of enjoy sitting down now. It's a nice break in the day. I can see why women like it, honestly. It's kind of nice. So, I'm originally from a little place called Danville, Virginia. Anybody ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. No big deal. But it's a strange place. It's country ghetto. It's weird. It's like at the intersection of where like rural poverty meets urban decay. It's like Grapes of Wrath meets Boys in the Hood, you know? It has a really high crime rate for what is essentially a small city. I was just reading, we have our incident of sexual assault is double the national average. That means you have twice the chance of getting raped in Danville as anywhere else in the country. That's the kind of shit they need to tell you about up front. It should be on the sign, just as you're driving into town, welcome to Danville, you might get raped. Of course, if you watch the news, you're probably always hearing someone's always getting shot in Danville. Because, you know, I think that, remember when Obama was caught on tape a few years back talking about how in impoverished areas people cling to God and cling to their guns? I'm pretty sure he was talking about Danville. Because they love Jesus, but they will shoot your ass. You know? It's a very religious town, too. One of its nicknames is the city of churches, because we have more churches per square mile than any other city in Virginia. And I myself was raised Pentecostal holiness. If you're not familiar with what that's like, it's kind of like, you know, imagine the stereotype of a black church, you know, only without any of the joy. And a lot more guilt and shame. It's kind of what it was like. But I grew up around these people that, you know, they prayed way too much, you know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with praying over something significant, like what happened in Oklahoma a few weeks back. That's what you should pray about. But these are people who, like, if they were stuck in traffic a little too long, would be like, Heavenly Father, please let this minor traffic inconvenience pass from my cup. And it's like they couldn't make the smallest decisions without consulting the Almighty. So, Heavenly Father, while we are grateful for the bounty of fast food establishments for which you have provided for us, should we get Arby's or Taco Bell? And you know God is up in heaven, like, screening their prayers, just like, oh, crap, it's Bob again. How about you make a fucking decision, Bob? I gave you free will for a reason, me damn it. So you wouldn't always be bugging me with this shit. You know, meanwhile, Bob's back down on Earth. Heavenly Father, my web browser is running a little slow. If you could see it in your infinite wisdom to allow plugins. How about you stop looking at porn, Bob? I'm all-knowing. You really think I don't know what's in your browser history? Yeah, sure, I was going to help out these people over in Oklahoma here, but I guess since teensluts.com isn't loading fast enough for you, I can take a second out of my day. You know, how about you start praying to me regarding your crippling porn addiction? That might be more worthy of the attention of the Almighty. But, I gotta admit that I'm mostly agnostic these days. In case you didn't tell. I think in order to have true faith, you have to see it with, like, the innocence of a child. Like, just the other day, my friend's daughter, Ava, she comes up to us and she says, Mommy, my favorite character in the Bible is Jesus. So that's very sweet, but her mother takes a moment to correct her and says, actually, Ava, Jesus was not a fictional character. He was a real live person who lived many years ago. So Ava thinks about this a second and it's just like, so you're saying that Jesus was not like SpongeBob? Which is adorable, but I'm thinking, man, how much more awesome would church be if Jesus had lived in a pineapple under the sea? That is Or I was saying we should be more like Jesus. I think Jesus should be more like SpongeBob. Get the kids into it. Give them a theme song like SpongeBob's, you know. Oh, who lives in the desert in Galilee? It's Jesus, beard face. He died for the sins of you and me. It's Jesus, beard face.
Heavenly Father, please forgive me for making up a song about you to the tune of a theme from SpongeBob SquarePants. Come on, that was pretty fucking funny, wasn't it?
Fortunately for me, I do think that God has a sense of humor. I think he's up in heaven all the time, just looking down at us, just laughing, just like, oh, man, white people are straight up tripping, man. Because I don't think that God is white. I mean, he's played by Morgan Freeman in like every other movie. There's gotta be something to that, you know? And Jesus wasn't white either. I mean, he was born in the Middle East. He's probably brown. I mean, he's known for having a beard. So he's a Middle Eastern guy with a beard. When he comes back, I hope it's not by plane, because that guy is not getting cleared for security. Not to mention immigration. I mean, a brown guy named Jesus, he is not getting into Arizona without papers. Last time we crucified him, this time we just frisk him. You know? Same basic pose.
Heavenly Father, I'm not racist or anything, but when you come back, they're probably going to think you're either terrorist or Mexican or something.
I bet Mexican Jesus would be awesome. He'd turn the water into Patron. Maybe that's how he fed the multitudes with the loaves and fishes. He made fish tacos. No, I joke around about religion, but I do think that it has ultimately made me a good person. Like, I do to try to help, you know, other people out. Like at Christmas, I like to do, you know, the angel treats. You guys know what those are? Where the kid writes down their age and what they want for Christmas, and you get it for them. And, you know, usually the little kids want toys, which is cool. I've noticed the older kids are usually a little more responsible. They ask for things they need, usually clothing items like coats and shoes. But one year I got this kid, and he was 13 years old, and he was asking for PlayStation 3 games. This tells me he already has a PlayStation 3. How needy are you if you have a PlayStation 3? I don't have a PlayStation 3. The kid's doing better than I am. Maybe I should be on the fucking tree. Now he's got the PlayStation, TV, basic cable, indoor plumbing, heat, electricity. How bad is this kid's life? I would love for this kid to like compare notes with like a poor African kid. Just be like, yeah, little Timmy, this is little Magembe. I want you to tell little Magembe why you think your life is so bad. Yes, Timmy, please tell me. Why do you think your life is so bad? Oh, so you and your family have to live in a trailer. That's interesting. You see, my family and I, we live in a mud pit where our grass hut used to be before the floodwaters washed it away. Oh, and you have had nothing to eat for a week? But hot dogs? That is a coincidence because you see, just this week, my family and I, we ate an actual dog so that we would not starve. So you could not afford your Wi-Fi bill anymore and you had to downgrade to DSL. You see, since we could not afford our basic medicines, our HIV was upgraded to AIDS. So I can see how the real tragedy here is you don't have the latest Call of Duty. Anyway, I don't want to end on that joke, simply because a poor African kid with AIDS eating a dog in a ditch is kind of a dark place to go for a comedy show, so I'm going to do a little bit more. But first of all, I want to thank you know, the other comedians you've seen tonight. Mikey the Greaser. Thank you, Emily, give it up for her again. I want to have her babies. I would let her impregnate me, is all I'm saying. Of course, Anthony, for putting on the show, keeping comedy alive. Don't forget to tip your wait staff and bartenders take good care of you guys. Thank you guys for supporting live comedy and coming out. We do this every other week, so come out again in 2 weeks. And come out to see me again, because I get paid based on the door. But anyway, I've got a joke plan that I want to end on, but since we're already in a dark place, well, with the AIDS and all, do you guys want to hear my Whitney Houston joke? I haven't? No. All right, so the thing that struck me when Whitney Houston died is that every few days, like after she died, a new report would find like more cocaine in her system, you know, or in the hotel room, or the bathtub, or her luggage. It's like, here a little coke, there a little coke, everywhere some coke, you know? I think what had happened is that Whitney Houston had become a being composed of like pure Colombian grade cocaine. Like that crack had like replaced carbon as the building block in her cellular structure. She didn't drown in that bathtub, she dissolved. And that's where bath salts come from. One last joke. Any of you guys here into the body piercings? Alright, now me, I can take it or leave it. However, there is one piercing that I do enjoy on a woman. And that is the clit piercing. It's not so much that I find it a turn on or anything, so much as I just find it really helpful. It makes things so much easier to find down there. It gives you something to aim for. Alright? I mean, they call him the man in the boat. If he's the man in the boat, that's like his GPS right there. That's like his Google Maps pin. Let's just zero right in. Find it. The clit piercing is the easy button of cunnilingus. They should sell them at Staples. Anyway, that's my time. Thank you guys.